And thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I'm your host for the podcast. I appreciate you joining me. This is a podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses, helping people get past saying, I'm going to do this someday or one day, and realizing that the only time we have is right now. So this podcast is about harnessing the power in the eternal moment of now. That's what it's all about. So my goal and my passion in life is to inspire, to encourage people to be able to move forward in their life right now. Do things right now that is going to make their life better, and stop waiting on the right time. That's what it's all about. If you want to donate to the cause, by all means, you can do that. Just go to my website, terenceyoungnow.com, and you can donate there. I appreciate it. Thank you in advance. It allows me to continue to do what I do and get these messages out to the masses. I encourage you. If you listen to my podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it everywhere. Everyone needs to hear these messages. So thank you in advance. I'll give you a quick update. I've got the classes that are up now, the 6 tips to creating an engaging speech and becoming an engaging speaker. That is up and live on the site. So if you want to take that class and get better at public speaking, I've got a lot of knowledge, and I poured a lot of information and heart into those videos that I created for that course. I know you're going to love it. And if you're interested in that, by all means, go to my website, terenceyoungnow.com, and you can get the link to the class there. Or if you know someone who's interested in becoming a public speaker and getting better at it, definitely refer them to my website, terenceyoungnow.com. Also, the class of 3 tips to finding your passion and living it right now. That is so important. The 3 keys there. That class is up as well, and that's really my mission in life, is to help people find their passion so they can start doing it right now in their life, because I know what it feels like to find your passion, to find your the thing that God put you here to do. So that class is up as well. If you are looking for to find that passion, that purpose in your life, and you haven't found it yet, by all means, go to my website, terenceyoungnow.com, and you can get information on there on how to get to that course and take it. Or if you know someone that you feel that would help them find their passion in life, there's 3 keys to it. I put it in the course. I put a lot of information into it. I've done it myself in my own life and with others, so I know that it works. So if you know someone you think that would help them, by all means, refer them over to the class. My website, terenceyoungnow.com. And the other class is the class on our 12 spiritual powers, which is on the site as well. It's just about developing a way of using our 12 spiritual powers in a tangible way to improve our lives, our experience, and ultimately improve our world. That class is up as well, and that class is absolutely free. So go to my website, terenceyoungnow.com. There's a link to all of my courses there. And if you want to take that, by all means, jump in. I think it's a great course. I put a lot of heart and soul into those videos that I created for that one, because I've lived it. And that's why I'm teaching it and giving it back to you. So thank you in advance for going out and checking out those courses. And it's interesting, I was talking about the passion course because we've been talking about purpose this whole week. And today I'm going to talk about purpose, but since we have such an amazing and powerful event coming up in our country, I think that we need to address that as well. So, and they tie together. We need to live our lives on purpose, right? I believe that, and part of living our lives on purpose is participating in our democracy. It's so important. We must get out and vote. We must get out and vote. That is a part of living on purpose. Meaning, I want to be a part of what happens for the leadership of our country. We need to think that way, and we need all of our citizens to think that way, regardless of who you vote for. I think it's important that you vote. That's very important. And I've touched on purpose all week because I believe that our world needs people who have found their purpose and are living it now. That's the most important thing, living that purpose right now. And so that's why I created a course to find it. And I believe it's so important that we use that purpose and direct it towards what's going on in our country right now, which is voting. We've got to get out and vote. I just did early voting a couple of days ago, and I shared that with people on social media, and hopefully continue to share that and tell people get out and vote. I have have 2 young kids myself. Terence, who happens to be 25, he turned 25 today, and Yanis is 22. So they're young. This is like their second time being able to vote right now, and I encourage them, get out and vote. And they said they're going to go on the 3rd, which is on the actual election day, but I want them to get out and vote. And I want you to encourage yourself, your friends, your family to get out and vote as well. And when speaking about voting, this is very important because we've been going through so much arguing in our country right now. So many differences of opinion and different points of view. And I understand that people have different points of view, so I'm okay with that. But I do want to discuss something about communication, because the communication is not well in our country right now, meaning how we communicate with each other, whether it be in person or on social media, because as you all know, we have these social media disagreements now. People love to do that. And I want to discuss it because it's important. So there's a couple of things about the information that comes from the highest level, which would be the White House, which would be the president. I believe that communication has to be direct from the White House. I believe that the person who holds the office of president must be an exceptional communicator. And if they're not, they need to listen to the people around them to help them formulate that communication. This is important because communication is key. If you communicate effectively, you can have the world in your hands. If you communicate ineffectively, you can have a mess on your hands. What I believe right now is we got a mess on our hands, and it starts at the top. It starts with the communication of the president. This is so important. This is so important. This is one of the most important things that is going on in our country right now. And I think people are missing the point. The point is the communication is so negative coming from the highest office that is affecting everything. And I think people are forgetting that. They're thinking, well, you know, Trump has this great plan on economics, but they're not thinking about everything else that he's saying with communication that is dividing our country. They're saying, we don't know why we're having riots in our streets. Well, it's because of the communication from the President of the United States. Remember this, communication from the President affects the entire world, right? First of all, this is important. It affects the people who vote for him, and it affects the people who don't vote for him. I think sometimes we think, well, when he says something that people don't like, well, those people who don't like him, they get upset. No, it's not just that. It's the people who do vote for him feel that they can act a certain way. Ooh, this is so important. The communication coming from the president. This is important. The person holding the highest office in our nation. The communication is important. So what do I mean by that? We have riots in the street, and we say, well, why are these people wanting to riot? Well, they feel like the president doesn't even support them. Well, why do you say that? Well, because on TV, the president says, those dumb Democrats, those stupid Democrats, his dumb wife. He's talking about half the country. You cannot hold the office of president and talk in that language. And here's the most important, this is the biggest thing that people are missing. When the president speaks that way, not only does it upset people who don't vote for him, it makes the people who do vote for him feel emboldened to speak that way as well. Ever wonder why now all of a sudden everybody's calling everybody stupid if they don't agree with them? Everybody's calling the other party dumb, right? Because the President of the United States is standing in front of a podium that says President of the United States and calling people stupid. I literally watched him say about CNN, those dumb bastards, at a rally. This was like 2 days ago. We cannot have a person in office who cannot communicate effectively to bring us together. What we're seeing is a person who is literally communicating to divide the country. You have to be the president for all of the United States, not just some of them, not just, I'll say this importantly, not just some of the Republicans, because not even all Republicans support this man. You cannot be the president for just some people, the people who support you. The president has to be the president for all Americans. Communication is key. Communication is powerful. Here's an example, another example. These riots, what's going on now, whether they're the pro-Trump people and the Black Lives Matter and the people wanting to, these riots are literally a cause of the president. But I know the people who support Trump, they don't believe that. I saw a guy on TV just the other day, oh my goodness, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, here in Tampa, in St. Pete. And he was like, these people who are out there rioting, Trump has nothing to do with that. No, Trump has everything to do with that. When he stands on TV and says people are stupid and dumb. I saw him just on TV the other day. He said, anyone with any sense is voting for me. This is what he said. Behind that podium, again, it says the President of the United States. If he says anyone with any sense is voting for me, that means the other people have no sense. As the President of the United States, you cannot speak this way. It is dividing our country. The cause of the riots is literally from the speech that is coming from the president. He's dividing our country. This is why so many people want him not to be president. Don't tell me about his politics or his great economy plan. I can't get to his economy plan because he is dividing our country. His moral aptitude, the way he moralistically views things, I can't agree with. That's the problem. Think about this, the communication about the pandemic. You ever wonder why in our country it's so bad? I'm not saying that it's not bad in other countries. I'm not saying that. But it's so bad here with people saying they don't want to wear a mask. Some people say you do. It's become a political thing. The communication. The communication coming from the highest office, again, has been misleading. Has been different from what the science says. Literally, I saw him make fun of Joe Biden about following the science. President Trump is literally in an argument right now with Dr. Fauci about what Dr. Fauci said we should be doing. Dr. Fauci works for him. Imagine this. If the communication from the highest office was this is what we should all do, concisely for all Americans, do you think it'd be different? Of course it would. Of course it'd be different. But it's been exactly the opposite. We have scientists saying this, or the president saying, not wearing a mask and saying, I don't think it's that important. And then disagreeing with the science, saying, hey, it'll just go away. The pandemic, it'll just go away. Scientists say, no, it's not going to just go away. But he says it anyway. He says it anyway. The communication coming from the presidency is causing the separation of our country. That's why we disagree so much on wearing masks or not. People say, I would have done that anyway. No, you gotta realize this is subconsciously. This isn't consciously. You're not saying, I'm doing this because President Trump said it. No, you're not doing it. What you're doing is subconsciously, you're seeing, when I turn on the TV, the president has things going on at the White House. They're not wearing masks. He don't wear a mask. He don't even think it's that important. He didn't even think the pandemic is that important. So subconsciously, you feel that way. And then you see how he reacts to it. You see him call Democrats stupid. So you say, Democrats must be stupid. And then you go out and you live your life that way. It's all subconsciously, though. You're not thinking consciously, I'm going to say this because the president said it. It's not that. It's all subconscious happening because this is what you're seeing in your world. The communication from the White House, from the highest office, from the president, is dividing our country. you got to be able to see this. You've got to be able to see this. If the communication was uniform coming from the White House, we would pull our country back together, which is exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need. Communication is key. Communication is so key. So I encourage you, first of all, go out and vote. If you're voting for Trump or Biden, it's important that you vote because that's a part of our purpose. We need to move forward and vote for the candidate that we want. But I want you to really think about what I said about communication here. The communication from the White House, from the president, is literally causing our problems. That is why I'm not voting for Donald Trump. I'm voting for Biden. Because we need somebody in the presidency that's going to bring us together, not pull us apart. We need unity in our country, not divisionism. We're not going to get anywhere being divisive and being separate. I think Martin Luther King said that we must learn to live together as brothers and sisters or perish together as fools. And literally, as long as this man stays in office, we are going to perish like fools. Just look at your own cities. Look at what's going on in our country. The president is causing what's going on by the way he speaks. We must have a leader in our presidency that knows how to communicate. This is important because this isn't about parties. Ronald Reagan was an exceptional communicator. Bill Clinton was an exceptional communicator. The first Bush was an exceptional communicator. His son wasn't as great, but he was still okay. He was good. He had his moments, nowhere near Trump. And then of course Obama was an exceptional communicator. That's what it was. They communicated effectively to all Americans, not just the people who support them. That's the key to communication from the highest level. The president is the president of all Americans, not just some, the ones who like him or her, if it happens to be a woman president. The president is the president of all Americans. And that's why the key is the president must be an excellent communicator to speak to all Americans. That's why it's important that the president doesn't have a Twitter account where they accidentally tweet something that they're not supposed to tweet. But of course, does Donald Trump listen to that? No. And he tweets some things out that he shouldn't do. I saw him on an interview the other day. He said, I just retweeted something. I didn't know what it was. You can't do that and be president. That's why you shouldn't have a Twitter account. Even if you're a human, you accidentally retweeted. But the issue is this. You shouldn't be retweeting anything. Matter of fact, you should be tweeting anything at all. The White House should be tweeting for the president. This is so important. Communication. Remember, when the president speaks, the whole world moves. Not just the United States, the entire world. That's why communication from the presidency is so important. We must have someone in office who can communicate effectively and help bring us all together. I encourage you. Go out and vote. Vote with your conscience. It's important that you vote. It's part of our purpose to continue our democracy. And I say that I wish our country the best. I wish our world the best. And if you follow your conscience, we're going to be all right. With that, I'm going to sign off. This is TY. I appreciate you joining me. Remember, the time is always now.